Hi guys, this is Ginger Bandine here with another Data Fun Friday. Today I wanted to take a look at the data in our electronic health records related to medications. So something I'm always curious about when I'm thinking about prescribing practices and best practices and how individuals are receiving services and access to care, all those different things. I think there's a lot of data in our electronic health records related to medications that we could use to do a deeper dive into trends, are different things that are happening out in the world affecting the medications people are taking or asking for or ending up taking. So anyway, today I made a quick query to make a little table, and I'll show you that first here. So this is just a little SQL query that I made to kind of group medications together. And one thing that's complicated when you're trying to report on medications out of a lot of record systems is that the medication name varies a lot, but it really, like, several names could be grouped together. So like a medication that has like an XR version could be grouped together with the medication and that has the main name if you're really wanting to kind of get data that's more aggregated. So I just did a little trick here using the SQL statement substring, which just takes the name of the medication and just takes the first word out of that name so that you can kind of group things together more and see trends. And other than that, the only other thing I did that might seem a little bit fancy is I made up a little field in my query that's called quarter year, which is just the year plus the quarter so that I could kind of group things together that way. And then I did a little age grouping. So I just compared the year of the day that the prescription was updated to the year a person was born. And then I calculated that into age groups using a case when statement. So that's just my little query. And then here we'll hop over to Power BI. And this is just one way to look at medication trends, but I thought this was kind of interesting. So what I have here are the medications over all of the time that this data set covers. And then down here, I have the medications, the orders showing up by the quarter in which they were ordered. So this is individual unique clients who were prescribed a medication during a quarter, and then it finds the average of those. And this is the total orders made. And so it gets really interesting with some of the built-in features of Power BI. So you can select a particular medication, such as this, let's pick hydroxyzine, and you can see there were some interesting trends. So one prescriber, and these have been de-identified, so don't try to guess who they are, completely scrambled up the numbers. This prescriber, had a little bit of a trend, and then there's an interesting upward trend here for this prescriber. You can look at other medications. Some of these have some really interesting trends. You can see like clozapine has had an uptick and then kind of leveled out a little bit. Some of the medications like lorazepam, which is a controlled substance, had a dip, then went up, then had a dip. It's interesting how the dips correspond with each other because these are different prescribers. So that's kind of interesting. And I also have here a little thing where we can drill down to look at just certain, we have to take off the filters by clicking on there, but just looking at different age groups. So you can kind of see over time, particularly with certain populations, like here's the 60 and over population, certain medications are more commonly prescribed by certain prescribers. And I think that's really interesting. I mean, I think prescribers would find that interesting to kind of compare among each other. I think it would be neat to show this report as show a prescriber their data and then show the average for their practice. Maybe by diagnosis, so that a prescriber could kind of know, like, hey, how do I line up with my peers? And then if there are variations, like how can people collaborate and learn from each other if there are medications that are being more helpful for certain prescribers than others. And since prescribers are a very valuable resource in behavioral health, I think finding ways to use data to make their lives better could be really important and helpful. So anyway, so just some basic things that I'm doing here using Power BI. using the native Power BI functionality and just a little bit of a data set, but you can see really quickly, you know, the other thing that's really interesting here is you can drill down to one prescriber if you see a little trend like that and kind of see like, whoa, okay, that prescriber wasn't prescribing any and now they've had, you know, kind of increased over time. You know, I wonder what's going on there. And then you could compare that trend, you know, to all the prescribers and like, okay, just that prescriber is going up, but the others are staying more stable. Just, you know, there might be I'm sure there's like lots of ways to explain those kind of patterns, but it's really helpful to have data to kind of identify them and then ask more questions. So that's this week's Data Fun Friday. If you'd like to know more about the things that I do, you can check out my website, which is missiondrivendata.com. You can also email me at ginger@missiondrivendata.com. And I'd love to know what you think. What are some interesting ways that you look at medications in your agency? If you have some ideas, send me a comment or email me, and I'd be happy to incorporate that into future Data Fun Fridays. All right, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.